Hello, everyone, and we are live on the Fight Game Media Network YouTube channel as we recap the highs and lows from WrestleMania Night 1 from Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada, and dive into a little bit of NXT Stand and Deliver, which happened earlier today from the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada as well. I'm Keila Cash, and by my side, as always, is my co-captain, my right hand, the sometimes advocate for the rapidly improving Ms. Jaida Parker from NXT. I bring to you back on the Rapper live on YouTube in a rare state this time of year, only for the live peeps out there. I bring to you the one, the only WrestleMania Perky, Scott Young. Welcome back, Perks.
Thank you for having me. As always, it's a pleasure to chop it up and talk all things WWE. I'm excited about the conversations we're going to have. And I had a real good time with it tonight.
A real good time. Scott is perky. I am in the middle regarding WrestleMania. I thought it was a show. And I had a feeling going into today that night 2 would be that show tomorrow night. And night 1 would be a nice appetizer, a nice precursor. And I was right. As the show went down the line and we saw the card play out, I was like, yeah, night 2 is definitely going to be that show that is going to be way more memorable in terms of great matches. This show had some good matches, had some decent matches, had some so-so matches, and had matches that was very fitting for the night after WrestleMania on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown this week.
Yeah, there's a couple of matches on here that are really indefensible, especially when you think about we have a TLC match on a random SmackDown next week. So there's that. But I do think there were some WrestleMania-worthy matches and moments on this card. And I would go as far as say that the main event was a great main event that we'll be talking about for a while.
Yes, a great main event with a plot twist or two that was featured that I was pretty surprised by, but based on how they told the story, it wasn't really surprising in hindsight, which we'll get to in just a little bit. Hello, Fernando. Welcome into the live chat. What's up, everyone? What's up to you? Glad you are here tonight to recap the highs and lows from night 1 of WrestleMania 41 going down in Las Vegas, Nevada. But before we dive into the WrestleMania card from Saturday night, let's dive into the highlights from NXT Stand and Deliver earlier this afternoon from the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. And I thought this was probably a better show on the whole than WrestleMania Night 1. Some really good matches, and I was proven to be correct in a couple of cases, even though my picks might have been a wee bit off. But I do want to dive into the pre-show match that me and Scott were both very, very, very wrong on regarding Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson not winning their match to earn a title shot at whoever will be the women's tag team champions at the end of WrestleMania Night 2. So we went over to start the day, and the winner of the match was actually Tatum Paxley and Gigi Dolan, and they'll face whoever the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions will be following WrestleMania Night 2 this Tuesday on NXT.
Yeah, so the Powerpuff Girls won, and I definitely didn't have them winning or even making it past the first elimination. I can definitely tell you that. The Meta Girls should have had better things to do, because I can tell you this much: that was a waste of their time. And the whole Roxanne Cora Jade thing, like, again, once I saw this, I just started laying out eggs for the Easter egg hunt, because I was like, this is what we got. I'm good. This was, to me, hard work from all the women involved. I just didn't care, especially after Lash and Jakara were the first ones eliminated.
Yeah, the fans love Jakara and Lash, and when they were eliminated, that pretty much took the air out of the room for the rest of the match. I was rooting for Gigi, obviously. I'm a big fan of Tatum Paxley, so I was happy for her. But yeah, I was detached from the rest of the match. I really didn't care about who was going to win for the most part because the Meta Girls, they were the fan favorites, and I thought they were going to win. To be the first out was definitely a choice. And then Roxanne walks out on Cora Jade, and I thought to myself, Cora, this better be the last time you ever trust this girl in life because she has ditched you in this match to say, I don't need you. I don't need this championship opportunity. Peace out. Girl, ditch her. She is not a friend. Even Booker T was offended, saying, I don't teach quitting. I don't do that at my school. I don't know what this was. I can't explain it. But yeah, the booking of this first match, I will say, it kind of gave me low confidence going into the show. But the momentum swung in a good way as Stand and Deliver did kick off on Peacock around 1:00 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, right as I'm cutting up my kid's sandwich for lunch. Turn the table, but yeah, it was fine.
Yeah, and Debbie's asking the important questions. Why they had to be eliminated first. A better question was, why did they lose in the first place? Period. Why? What was the point? But yeah, they lost. They're out of there, and I was very disappointed. And Fernando also notes that Roxanne belongs on SmackDown for good. Well, she's going to get a championship match this Tuesday on NXT against Stephanie Vaquer, and then that might be her out. But then again, Cora Jade wants her pound of flesh, so she might not be out into WWE Battleground in all honesty. So she might be stuck in purgatory for another month. But I have more questions regarding Roxanne Perez as we dive into our WrestleMania recap because some choices have been made. Phantom injuries happening out of nowhere. Surprise returns most likely happening tomorrow night. In the name of what exactly? We shall see.
In the name of He is risen. In the name of Easter.
In the name of Easter.
We're about to have a superstar risen.
A superstar rising on the third day after nearly a year out. We're going to see it tomorrow night for sure. We'll dive into that. We'll dive into the speculation in just a little bit. But let's kick off Stand and Deliver with Ricky Saints versus All Ego Ethan Page for the NXT North American Championship. A solid professional wrestling match. Nothing too flashy, nothing too fancy. A competent wrestling match that was simply okay. Right guy won, but I wasn't blown away by the match itself.
Absolutely nothing here. It was fine. I mean, I'm just saying, like, there was absolutely nothing here, and that's okay. But yeah, I definitely could have went to a nice restaurant and enjoyed my lunch there instead of getting a DoorDash and spend that extra $10.
Wow! You could have went out, got a fresh meal, nice drinks off top versus seeing this match. Yeah, it was just there, and then we got some weird chants of Tony fumbled once again, and thank you, Tony. Like, if this match was great, I could understand it, but it was just right. It was
right. So, my impression was, we're 0 for 2 in my book. Okay, yeah. we are like we had the wrong winners. All right. Nobody wants to see the Powerpuff Girls take out Mojo Jojo again. Okay. And then I'm just saying, man. And then we follow that up with we talking about thank you, Tony, and Tony fumble. Tony don't give a flying rat's tail about what's going on today. Tony is trying to figure out who he gonna sign for his football team. And you can pick which one. So we got to get it together. We're 0 for 2 in my book.
Yeah, we were 0 for 2. Wasn't a great start. Tony Khan is in the war room getting ready for the NFL draft on Thursday.
Nothing about this show.
No, he's thinking about draft picks, thinking about strengthening the offensive line for the Jaguars, working on defense a little bit, trying to find a way out of this hole they've dug themselves in over the last few years, trying to make Trevor Lawrence stay in Jacksonville. Like, here's a reason to stay, dude. We're drafting, we're trying, we're signing free agents. Here you go. Tony is not worried about Stand and Deliver. Trust and believe that. So we were off to a so-so start. It was rough going. But as I said on our prediction show on Wednesday, when in doubt, you put your faith and you put your trust in Nathan Fraser and Axiom. You put your trust and you put your faith in them delivering a great match. And sure enough, like Jesus on the third day,
Wow.
they rose to the occasion and they delivered. They stood up and delivered.
Yeah.
And I have to shout out Hank and Tank because we
don't.
talked about them. Yes, we did. And I told you on Wednesday, I puffed out my chest and I said what I said. I said they was going to have the match of their careers and that once again, Fraxium was going to perform a miracle and they were going to deliver probably the best match on the show. It was close. It was close, but they went out there and they balled out with Hank and Tank. Hank and Tank had their best match ever. Tank, I saw the vision a long time ago. He's got something. He has potential to be greater someday. But the moral of the story is you never doubt the greatness of Fraxium. When we needed a lift, when we needed a turn of momentum, they came through. Now, I was shocked at the winner. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. But I understand it if that means Fraxium is getting that call up, which is about damn time post WrestleMania, Lord willing. But great NXT Tag Team Championship match.
Hank is the Kevin Costner, right? He's the bodyguard.
You correct. That's legitimately his role.
And that's what I mean. Yeah, that's what I
role. That's strong role.
That's what he is. Yeah, that's what he is. He's the bodyguard. Again, you were right. First, I'm gonna give you your props because you were correct. That was the best match of Light Machinery's career. But that being said, that being said, okay, it was a really good match. It's not going to be one that you talk about in the catalog when you talk about Fraxium, when you talk about, hey, what's a match that really stands out for Fraxium? That's not going to be one. But again, to your point, that they're able to get this caliber of match out of literally anybody you put in front of them. Yeah, it's about time for them to go up to the main roster, get exposed to being on being on a different level of television, and being on the main roster, meaning with the big guys up there. So shout out to Hank and Tank. They did their thing. They got a big win. Match was solid, like I said. And I will give you your flowers. This was the best match that they probably will ever have.
I told you. I prophesized it. I don't doubt Fraxium. When in doubt with this card, I always trust them to deliver. And I was very happy for them. And if this is the end for them on NXT, what a run. They are my favorite tag team on the planet today. And if they're getting promoted to the main roster, go ahead and just ball out because they are going to be instrumental to Raw or SmackDown. They're going to be a perfect fit. And in a perfect world, they should be in that TLC match on SmackDown, truthfully, but they won't be. But I'm happy for Hank and Tank. They went out there, they delivered, and Tank, I do believe, has a very bright future in WWE. He is the first OG NIO dude to win that major championship since they integrated that program in WWE a few years ago. So, I think he is a blueprint for the future of what they can do, and I'm very happy for him. And hey, you can't go wrong when you call somebody a bodyguard in the same conversation as Kevin Costner. Okay? That is a compliment. That's not an insult. That's facts. So
no, 100%. And regardless of the quality of the movie, people still remember him as the bodyguard. I will say this though, going forward, I will be very interested to see how their title reign goes, to see how the quality of tag matches going forward goes without Fraxium as the backbone of the division.
That is going to be an interesting story to see because, as we stated during the Gauntlet match on Tuesday, the division is not the greatest. It is fairly weak right now. They need stronger tag teams. They need to get some things together there. So they're going to be the anchor. They're going to be the base. They're going to be the ace for now. And we see how they handle things in the months to come, depending how long this reign is going to be. And then Fernando notes that Hank and Tank remind him of Public Enemy from the ECW days, which is a fair comparison based on the fits they had on today.
Yeah, I'm still rocking with light machinery though. I think that's gonna be it. But I do agree with the Public Enemy. Um, if they came out the Public Enemy, I'd probably like them a little bit more.
Listen, that's expensive.
I'm just
I
saying.
I don't know if they got that kind of licensing is a question. I don't know, but if they do, pay for it. Why not? And then we have Fernando also noting that Fraxium versus the Machine Guns is going to be fire. I agree whenever that day comes, preferably on SmackDown sometime very soon. And Maria, welcome to the conversation as well. Very happy for the underdogs. I am as well, as predicted, that Hank and Tank was going to have the match of their lives at Stand and Deliver. And sure enough, I was correct. Give me my flowers. Thank you very much. As we get to our next match, which is a ladder match for the vacated NXT Women's North American Championship. Now, this was another match I called for one Soul Ruca. I said that she needed to be belted in 2025. And ironically enough, she got the Speed Championship belt a couple of days before this match. And I thought to myself, this better not be the only match she wins this weekend. And sure enough, I was correct. We had Ruca, ZARIA, Izzi Dane, Lola Vice, also in the mix, Kelani, Jordynne, and Thea Hale in this six-way for the NXT Women's North American Championship match. I thought this match was very good. Love the action throughout. Izzi Dane, your faction sucks, but you have stepped up. I have seen marked improvement from you just being a girl in NXT a year ago. So clearly, you are taking advantage of your push and your opportunity. And I thought she was a standout in this match besides the regulars out there who know what they're doing. And I thought the spots were cool. The culling went out there to be the buffer to take bumps for the ladies out there, which I appreciated. But so Ruca, just my God, everything about her is just great. Look, presentation, the athleticism, the skill set, and she's still going to get better down the road. She is what I think is going to be a game changer in the women's division for years to come. And this was her moment, and the fans were ready for it. And this was an earned victory on top of that ladder, and the creativity of getting on top, hitting the Soul Snatcher in multiple ways, and getting back on top to grab that championship belt was pretty awesome.
Yeah, a couple things. First of all, I'm not surprised about how great Soul Ruca is. There is something about biracials. It's just genetic. There's not much you can really do about it. It's just a genetic thing. You're just special, you know. Izzi Dane, is that the pony girl snatcher, ponytail snatcher? Is that the one that's all upset about Bianca's ponytail?
Oh no. That's the other one.
Okay, all right. I was just curious. I just
From
wanted
no
to make
quarter.
sure.
From no quarter.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to make sure if that was the ponytail girl or not.
No. Izzi Dane has beaten those allegations
Okay.
handedly.
Okay. All right. Got it. No, this again, I got a knife and fork. The crow is in the oven right now. I'm just getting a little extra roast. I got some sauce that'll make it go down a little bit easier. I got a couple shots that'll make it, and I'm gonna eat the crow again. 2 years in a row. I guess the lesson is I need to stop doubting the ladies, regardless of the experience, because they put together matches really well. And this was probably one of the better. And it's because of the expectation level too. This is probably the best match for me on this card, just because it just exceeded what I really thought they were going to do.
Yeah, it was a clean match.
Yeah.
It was safe. They didn't do too many crazy stunts. And the stunts they did made sense. There was nothing like truly catastrophic or, oh my God, somebody's going to get hurt here. But I just thought like it flowed really nicely, didn't overstay its welcome, and everyone hit their spots accordingly. Everybody got a moment to shine, which I appreciated. And so Ruca and ZARIA had their moment on the top as well, because they are tag team partners, they're friends. But when you're looking at a championship belt high above your head, you wonder to yourself, what are you going to do? They went blow for blow. They slugged it out. And then so Ruca was the last woman standing. So I'm very happy for her. This is long overdue. I thought that she was going to win Deadline 2025. But Walker HPK says, you know what? She's going to get a belt at Stand and Deliver. And I think it's well deserved, very happy for her. And I think she's going to be a great champion. And as Maria states, this was the match of the night and best women's match of the year so far in WWE. Wow. Is that true?
That's a bold statement.
That's bold. I mean, we do have Stephanie and Julia out there from Roadblock. We had the Elimination Chamber match from a couple of months ago. They were like a word, but I will say it was one of the better matches I've seen this weekend, I must say.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the best match of tonight, but I'm gonna go ahead and throw it. That won't last after tomorrow night.
No.
At least I don't think it will.
It won't.
It shouldn't.
It shouldn't. I think the bar will be cleared pretty handedly with the opening match of night 2. I think the night 2 clears the entire weekend tomorrow.
Wow.
I do, because look at the card. When I examined night 1 and I looked at night 2, I said night 2 is for the Hoopers. That's like, we just gonna close it out, shut it down. It's gonna be undisputed, very similar to last year's WrestleMania. Night 2, like, we're just gonna shut it down and y'all ain't gonna top it. And I do have a feeling that night 2 is going to clear the weekend, even though I do think the Stand and Deliver was a slightly better show than tonight's WrestleMania. As Fernando circles back to notice, Ruca is going to be one of the biggest women's baby faces on the main roster ever in the women's division. I said that too. I think that she has the tools to be one of the great baby faces. She's finding herself in this role as a pure baby face that's out there to put on a show, and the confidence level is growing. She's glowing. She's finding her groove at the right time, and winning this championship was definitely the right step in that direction for sure.
Yeah, they've done like a really good job with her, bringing her up. They haven't over pushed her. She's taken her L's. Like you said, we've seen the development, and she was a highlight of this match. And because of her athleticism and just her moveset, there is a really good chance that she could be one of the bigger baby faces this company has, for sure.
Kind of called it. I mean, innovation. She didn't even do half the stuff she normally does in this match. I mean, she could have really went out there, unlocked the cheat code, and put on a show. But there's a time and place for everything, and sometimes less is more to get your point across. And that was definitely the case via this match here. But congrats to Ruca, our new NXT Women's North American Champion. As we get to our next match, Mobland, involving the D'Angelo family and the Flashing Lights crew, the FLC, Dark State. And Scott is wondering, well, you know what? This could have been a Tuesday night special after WrestleMania on NXT. And this match went down as I expected it to, because we both sensed betrayal was afoot, that Stacks was going to do the thing. Scott's pouring water, which might actually double for a 40 for what happened to Tony D'Angelo during this match. And, I'm not shocked by what happened. I expected it. I predicted it. And Tony kind of felt it was coming too, because we had the crowbar introduced a couple of times in this match. And the second time it was introduced, Tony turned his back. He was expecting the hit. And then when it didn't come, a hit came a different way via a low blow, a shot to the nuts, which allowed Dark State to get the victory. And there we go. We will hear from Stacks this Tuesday regarding the why he told Christofino, hey, keep your phone on standby. I'll text you the location where we can meet, and I can dive into what happened. I'm like, where's your loyalty, homie? You gonna meet with the enemy after what happened? Yeah, let's have a casual conversation about what happened. But okay, this match was a Tuesday night NXT special. It was all right.
I mean, like, what? All right, it's fine. It happened. We got through it. Stacks, Tony. I mean, we know NXT's not opposed to killing people, so I guess Tony D about to go for a swim.
Yeah, I told you they was gonna kill him off.
That's crazy.
Like he's killed so many people that it's time for him to swim with the fishes on his way out to be promoted to the main roster. It's long overdue. It's time. He's been there for 3 years. It's time to spread his wings and fly elsewhere. It's time. And then Fernando also notes that Sax Lorenzo is the secret leader of Dark State. Do I believe that to be true? After what did not happen in the main event, it's possible, but that's still like lame for the most part if he is the leader of Dark State.
Nobody cares who's in charge of this video game. No,
Wow.
nobody cares who's in charge of the video game, who's turning the light switch on and off during an entrance. Nobody's concerned. I am a fan of Sugar though. I do want to throw that out there. Like I genuinely like Sugar. I think he's got something.
Sugar's got something. You know, he needs to control himself a little bit. Almost at like a little botchamania moment, but he's gonna be all right. Just calm down. Calm down. It's all right. But he definitely has charisma, experience. I just like looking at Deion Lennox, just nice visuals there. Also,
he can't see you though because he don't have his glasses on. So regardless of what you see, he can't see you.
Listen, he needs laser eye surgery to see me, or glasses back on to resolve that, or contacts. Either thing works for me, but he's very nice to look at. And Osiris, he's got hops. He's got potential to be somebody as well. So it's not like they have a bunch of scrubs assembled. Just got to know what to do with the parts, essentially. So, hey, there's that. And then Fernando also notes they are the bootleg retribution. They are, but with a more centered story potentially.
Yeah. The story of don't be afraid of the dark.
Are you afraid of the dark? Are you?
That was a good show back in the day.
It was. It was actually peak cinema for us kids out there. Great series on Nickelodeon. Import from Canada. One of my favorite shows. You can watch Paramount Plus if you want to watch quality television. Not the reboot. I don't acknowledge that, but the original series. Oh, it ate all the time. Great times indeed. Goosebumps wish they could be Are You Afraid of the Dark? They tried, but they can never quite reach that level of greatness in terms of good story and acting for that matter.
Yeah, we won't be slandering Goosebumps. So
it was good.
We won't be doing that. A lot of classic episodes of Goosebumps. The puppet, the one where they on a different planet, the wolf. A lot of classic episodes of Goosebumps. But I will say, there was nothing like throwing a nice big pile of sand and some fire for Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Exactly. Listen, there's no cooler name than the Midnight Society. Okay, like there's no cooler name than that you would hang outside after midnight, tell stories about the campfire, throw dust on the fire, put that fire out. Like, come on. Like, I love Goosebumps too, but Are You Afraid of the Dark? Are You Afraid of the Dark? Walked so Goosebumps could run.
Okay, I don't know about that, but
they did. Come on,
they both have their place in the anthology of kids horror history.
Yes, very good kids horror history with good acting, indeed, for the time as well. Must say,
better acting. Right. I'll give you that.
Yes, listen, in this day and age, compared to what we're getting now, this was like Oscar-worthy acting from these kids back in the day. Future Oscar winners, by the way, on those shows. But I digress. As we get to our next match, which was the Fatal 4-Way match for the NXT Women's Championship. It was the champion, Stephanie Vaquer, defending her championship against Giulia, against Miss Jaida Parker, and one more opponent in this match, the juggernaut, Miss Jordynne Grace. And I have to say that the profiles on all three ladies on NXT was great. And there was an interview during the Stand and Deliver pre-show involving Jordynne Grace that I loved, because she basically told the story of her doing this extras role in WWE 10 years ago. And I don't know who this producer was. I hope he's not there anymore. But he basically said, go in the back. We're not going to show you on camera. And we kind of know the reason why. So whoever that dude is, I hope you don't have a job anymore, you jackass. So
there's that. There you go.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Told that story. And they had the footage. because WWE keeps an archive of everything. They film everything. There's a crew for every situation, and that was real. That was a true story. Whoever that producer is, go fuck yourself. How about that? Hope you don't have a job these days. But in any event, I thought this match was very good. It never reached the great status for me, but I thought there was pretty cool spots in this match. And I love how the fans wanted Stephanie to do the thing. They had scissors, and the fans were like booing every time it was cut off. Booker couldn't get his moans off, which was weird until like halfway through this match when he was awake, because let's not forget, dude was asleep during the Hall of Fame hours before, and he woke up just in time for this match. But overall, I thought everybody showed out, and the winner of this match was pretty obvious. Stephanie Vaquer retained her championship by pinning Jaida Parker.
Yeah, a lot of black women getting pinned today. So I'm just saying, man. A lot of black women getting pinned, unnecessarily too. But no, I figured Jaida was in the match to get the pin, but to get the rub from being in the match, I pretty much called that during our picks. But solid. A fatal 4-way is a hard match to really do great. To have great fatal 4-ways, there's not a lot of great fatal 4-ways that you think of off the top of your head. There's the obvious classic WWE has of Edge, Orton, Cena, and Shawn Michaels. There's the fatal 4-way that NXT had that was really good. I think that was the one where Ethan Page won the title. So there are a few that do stand out, but for the most part, it's a hard match to make great. And the women did the best they could. Everybody got a chance to shine, but this was, to me, again, this just felt like a way to get your top women on the card, and the woman that you think has next, and Jaida Parker, in the top match that they have for the women's belt.
Yes, I thought there were some pretty cool, innovative spots during the match itself. The fans, you can kind of feel like they were just waiting for the high spots, the closing sequence, waiting for the big pop, which you got at the end. But I thought that everybody worked hard in this match. Everybody had a chance to shine. As we get some comments from our peeps, Fernando knows Stephanie is ready for the main roster. She is pound for pound the best woman wrestler right now. She is better than all the women in world championship matches at WrestleMania. That is a bold statement. I cannot co-sign on that because I live in a world where Io Sky exists and Bianca Belair exists and Rhea Ripley exists. So I cannot say that, because those three ladies tonight, when they go out there to open WrestleMania night 2, they're going to tell everybody to go top that. Go out there and top the match that could have main evented night 1. Go out there and try to do that. So until they prove me otherwise, I think they're going to be the show stealers tomorrow night. Trust, I do.
Yeah, Stephanie's definitely ready. So whenever she does get called up, she's going to get over very, very quickly, very easily, with her demeanor, moveset, and everything. So she absolutely could become that pound for pound best. But I agree with you. I think as long as Io is around, as long as for me, it's Bianca right now. When it comes to WWE, I think she's proven it to be the best. Everything she does elevated. She doesn't have a bad match on the big stage. So for me, it's Bianca Belair.
Yes, Maria also knows it's time for Stephanie to move up to the main roster now. Yeah, I think it's time. I think she's a great champion, but she's meant for bigger things on the main roster very soon. If you want her to be with the very best, got to call her up. And Lady B knows that Rhea versus Stephanie will be amazing. We love Lady B coming through in the clutch. That would be a great match, Rhea versus Stephanie Vaquer.
Yeah, I'm good on that. Let me get Stephanie and let me get Stephanie and Io though. Let me get that first. Let me get that first. The Rhea one, that's fine. But let me save that. Let me get Stephanie Io off the bat, like a nice little series.
Yes, I'll take best of 3, best of 7. I'm all for that. So nice, solid match to lead to the main event of Stand and Deliver. And God, this match, Opa Femi, NXT champion versus Javon Evans and Trick Williams. Now, ironically enough, this prophecy of mine kind of came true that Javon was going to make it to Stand and Deliver. I forgot that I called that, and I thought he was going to win. Scott said, no, not yet. He was right, but Javon Evans will be NXT champion in 2025. I do believe that for sure. I don't know when, preferably at an arena show sometime this summer, heading into the end of the year. But this match, Jesus, was great. It was great. Everybody balled out. Trick had hops I didn't know we had. Femi. When we talk about what Triple H said earlier this year at that press conference, I don't see color and I push who I push. Shawn Michaels presented you with 3 black kings that could be called up in the next year or two. And all of them can main event WrestleMania. All of them can be major champions at some point. All of them. There is no excuse. You got 3 dynamic black men that can go out there and ball out. And if I don't see 1, 2, or 3 of them in prime position at the next 3 to 5 WrestleManias, I want Triple H's book. Give it to Cody, give it to Punk. I don't care who you give it to, but that'll be like booking malpractice if you don't push these 3 black kings in the next 3 to 5 years on your main roster, because they're right here. The future, what I saw tonight, come on.
Yeah, the match was real good. I think Oba's definitely got next. You know, I think when they get called up to the main roster, there's definitely going to be a pecking order, though. I don't think any of them are better than a Braun Breaker, guys like that. But I think matches like this show just how good they can be when they can let loose. And Oba Femi is becoming a bit of a multi-man match, bit of a phenom there. He's very, very good in the multi-man matches where he can really just kind of toss people around. And Evans is bouncy. I mean, that's about as good as you can pick, as you can describe for him. This was again, like you said, the 3 Black Kings. They did their thing. They held it down, and definitely deserved the main event spot. And I'm glad they got it.
I'm glad they got it too. They was worthy of the moment. The fans were just popping for everything. Javon is incredible. I will say that, listen, I love Bond Breaker. We called his destiny a long time ago. Obafemi, I will say, could be a great challenge for that spot too in the next 5 years. Truthfully speaking, this guy has no right to be this great this early on. Main event Stand and Deliver, year 2 in his main roster run, technically, and being this great. Dijak shouted out the match as well because he was a part of the last great triple threat at last year's Stand and Deliver when they were fighting for the NXT North American Championship alongside Josh Briggs and Obafemi as well. So I just think that this guy is great. And Javon, I do think there's a lane for him. I do think there's a lane for him to be a major champion in WWE. He's young, he's bouncy, as you said. He's special, charismatic, gifted, and Trick. I think he stepped up in this match too. He showed things he's never done before, and I think that he needed to showcase I am more than what you saw of me on this roster over the last couple of years. So he stepped up in a big way too. I just think it was a nice preview of what can be with good booking on the main roster. And for Shawn to entrust these guys in that spot to deliver 3 different styles in this way was pretty incredible. And the fans were eating it up. I loved it. The near falls had me going, the innovation, the creativity, all of it was great. Was it perfect at times? No, but I just thought the body of the match and the work rate was really strong. Right guy won. Oba needed to win, obviously, but Javon will be NXT champion sometime this year. They're really gunning for him to be the youngest champion ever in WWE. And I think that is a title that is deserved because the guy is great early on. And what's scary is he's only going to get better the more he works.
Yeah, that'll be a nice title for him. You know, him being the youngest champion is that'll be something that probably won't be broke, especially with his age. But yeah, this is I think it definitely showcased a very bright future for what could be the upper mid and the main event scene in the main roster.
Yes. Lady B shouts out Black Excellence. Yes, Black Excellence was on display in this main event match. Fernando notes that Obafemi is incredible. Yes, he is. And Javon is Will Ospreay good. Potentially. I will say yes, he is. Potentially. Potentially. With more experience, possibly gain some body weight in the next 3 to 5 years. Yeah, potentially. As long as he takes care of himself, keeps head on his shoulders. Oh, for sure. Definitely has real Ospreay potential to be great.
Nah, Will Ospreay's he's a nah. As special and unique as Evans can be, I Will Ospreay is a whole different type of beast. In my opinion.
He is. But Javon is 20. And Will Ospreay was 20 a long time ago, too. And he was able to go through this transformation, too, as he got older. So I'm looking at Javon. I can see that in 10 years of the maturation process and how his style is going to change and evolve, too, because he won't be as bouncy in 10 years. And he has to kind of adjust to, as Will did during that time as well. So I'm not going to say it's not possible, but I do want Javon Evans to be the first Javon Evans because Will Ospreay is going to be Will Ospreay without question. Mm-hmm. And that was Stand and Deliver. I thought it was a solid show. We had some hits and misses here and there, but I thought there was more hits than misses, even though the first two matches definitely had us wondering, okay, Sean, I know you was up all night doing the Hall of Fame. I know you're tired. I know you're a little wired, but come through. And the show did stand and deliver when it counted most.
Yeah, it won't stand the test of time, but it delivered a nice 2-hour appetizer for the main show.
Yes, yes. And speaking of the main show, let's talk about the pre-show because I was watching it. Yeah.
You watched the pre-show.
Listen, now, Scott, mind you, I had half the show on mute. I wanted to troubleshoot Peacock. It was a little twitchy for me during Stand and Deliver. So I wanted to make sure it was on a continuous run during the day. But the only reason I'm mentioning the pre-show is the fact that we have breaking news that happened during the pre-show that is shocking. WWE has bought AAA. They've bought it. They're doing a Worlds Collide show at the Forum in LA on Saturday, June 7th, 3:00 p.m. Eastern. I think that might be the same night as a PLE for WWE, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, they're going all in on Lucha Libre by acquiring AAA.
Yeah, AAA has been really good for me. Every time I've broken down, as soon as I call them, they come and they take care of any of my roadside needs. So,
sir,
I think having AAA available for the company is it's one of the best moves that I think they've ever made ever. So I think it's a great move,
sir. We're not talking about roadside assistance, you jackass. That is not the correct AAA.
Listen, when I heard that Triple H bought AAA, I was like, oh man, that's great for the family. I think that it's really going to come in handy. They will, like, you're going to use it. You know, at some point you're going to use it. You're going to need, you know, that free tire. You know, so shout out to AAA, man.
Lady B with the bar of the night. Scott is grounded. Grounded.
Well, hey, well, listen. At least if I need a ride, I can call AAA.
Sir, you need to stop. And the fact that you won't admit that is not to say AAA for the last 2 minutes is egregious. As Lady B is factually stating that Paul is on the presser right now wearing his glasses, putting over Lucha Libre as a style and the AAA deal, which is not roadside assistance.
Yeah. First of all, Triple H needs to give Dion his glasses back. Secondly, I think the only person that wasn't happy about it was Andrade because he looked like while he was up there, because Santos was out there like, oh, let's get hype. You know, we got free roadside coverage. And Andrade was like, listen, man, I don't need it. I don't drive myself. People drive me around. So it is what it is.
And in all caps, Lady B says, Scott is wild. And Andrade's face as Triple H went to touch him from behind, one of the great luchadors of our time, Andrade. And Andrade's like, oh, is it too late for me to go back to AEW now? It's too late for me to go back to the portal.
You know, Mello, you know, it's funny. I know we got to move on. You talked about Mello, and Mello then got mizzed over instead of being Andrade's partner. Crazy.
Mizzed over. Listen, I'm just happy that Carmella won the Dre on SmackDown.
The Miz effect.
Fuck that. Fuck the Miz effect. No, I will not acknowledge
he hasn't
that.
seen this level of success on the main roster until he hooked up with Mike Mizanin.
Listen, I don't acknowledge him.
You ain't got to.
Listen, I don't. I won't. But I'm happy for Mello for winning the Dre, and hopefully that's like a vote of confidence to be pushed in 2025 by pushing the Miz aside as soon as possible.
Yeah, after they win the tag titles.
No. We're good. We're good with that. We're good. You know, so.
And Fernando, Carmelo is awesome.
No. Actually, no. Let me remove that right now so we can. Sorry, Fernando, but Scott tried it. You know, he's on one right now. This is like egregious behavior. And like when the Miz is around to anoint someone, he finds his motivation to live. It gives Scott purpose, which disturbs me. So the quicker Mello gets away from Miz, the better. Free yourself, Mello. Free yourself from the shackles of the Miz. Because listen, this fame and this success with this guy as an anchor is short term. Trust me when I say it. It's gonna be fleeting. It's gonna be fading, and when it's done, it's done. So free thyself from this curse while you can, because it won't last. But
yeah, free yourself from the curse and go back to doing nothing. Let's talk about Mania. Shout out to Mike.
Whatever. Okay. Whatever. In any event, let's get to WrestleMania Night 1. Mm-hmm. So Scott and I kind of brainstormed what the set would be like. And they said we're not doing poker chips, which made me very sad. But I will say that I do like the set. It's very nice, very Las Vegas opulent hotel vibes. Love the elevator doors for the entrances. Very fun. But let's talk about how rich people are, Scott. Let's talk about how rich the people of Vegas or abroad are for y'all to have seats at the top of the balcony for the hotel staging and on the stage itself. Like, what kind of lottery did y'all hit to pay for those kind of seats? And then my question is, for those who were sitting there at the top of the hotel, like, y'all do realize that's what the pyro's at? I don't want to go deaf.
You talking about money? That ain't my language. I can tell you that. Because that's they in a whole nother stratosphere. I could barely afford to pay for it to watch it on Peacock. So I can't even imagine what it's like to pay for it to be there in person. But yeah, some of them seats were egregious. It looked incredible. I thought it was very reminiscent of 39 in a good way, but I thought it had its own kind of feel to it. But I thought it looked and felt epic, as it should.
It did. I thought the people were AI at first from the NXT days. I said, those are not real people up there. Like, they were actual people up there watching from that vantage point. And I was like, what kind of money y'all got to afford those kind of seats?
You thought they were Thunderdome in it.
Yes, I thought they were Thunderdome people that were on the screen for kicks. And I looked up there like, they're real. They're actually sitting there on the top of the hotel, which is crazy to me. With all the pyro going off around them, going deaf at the same time. Prayers up to you guys, truly. But lovely set, extravagant, fancy, bougie in a good way. As we kick off WrestleMania Night 1 with Jey Uso defending, or not defending, not yet, soon to be defending his championship. But it was Gunther defending his World Heavyweight Championship against Jey Uso. So Jey gets his special WrestleMania entrance, comes through the crowd. We got like the flags and the cheerleaders. Very nice vibe for Jey. And the match itself was solid. It was good for what it was. We basically had Jey doing Gunther's moves down the stretch, clotheslines, chops, power bombs, hidden splashes, super kicks, and then he put Gunther to sleep. Now, I thought the match was perfectly fine. Well wrestled, had great heat. The fans were all in on Jey Uso. There was no agenda to boo him out of the building. And I think that Triple H's comments about wrestling fans complaining all the time, when he first said it to Peter Rosenberg, I was like, what side of the bed you woke up on this morning to be so mad? Like, why are you so angry? Try to clean up on Pat McAfee's show on Friday to say, hey, people watch things on TV, they're critics or this and that, and they can love what they love and hate what they hate. But at the end of the day, we're doing what we love for the love of the game, and whether you can take it or not, that's up to you. I get that. And then I look at this match and I hear this reaction from the people, and they're so happy to see Jey win. And my only issue was the fact that Gunther tapped out too quickly. I thought it was a very quick submission. Needed a bit more drama, needed him to go to sleep actually and not tap out. That would have been the preferred finish for me versus a quick submission. But when I see the fans there in the building yeet and celebrate and go crazy for this guy, and then I go on social media and I read this mixed reaction, I'm like, in this instance, you're validating Triple H's point, because 50,000 people clearly rock with this guy, and there's a section of you that don't rock with him, which I understand. But ultimately, the inexperienced reaction, that kind of wins out because they're happy for him. They love him. Whether you like it or not, the fans that paid those egregious ticket prices are loving this guy. And so when you're being loud, I'm not saying that you're wrong, but in this case, you're being really, really loud, and it's not matching what I'm seeing on the screen. Because if there was some kind of pushback and backlash, I could see the point. But in this instance, I don't. And that's where my disconnection is with that feedback, because I don't get it. When the fans in that building on that night was rooting for this guy to win this match, win the championship, and there was no hint of dissension during this match to kick off WrestleMania Night 1.
Yeah, the match was solid. Jey tried to give Undertaker a run for his money for longest entrance, and but yeah, solid. I'm not a fan of Gunther tapping out at all. Gunther, like, man, and for Jey to just start, 2K stealing moves and stuff, like, this was crazy. But it was cool. I was all for it. I'm all for Jey winning. I just thought the tap out I was cool with like the power bomb, but the tap out was a bit egregious. I would have rather him like just about put him to sleep, and right before the ref drops his hand, Jey lets him go, and then he frog splash and goes for the pin 1, 2, 3. But him putting Gunther to tapping him out to his own move is wild. But yeah, and then as far as the internet disconnect and all that, I mean, that's just the reality that we live in. The vocal minority, because they're so loud, it makes it seem like that is what everybody's thinking. But there hasn't been not one single arena in the last 12 months, probably since Jey Uso went to Backlash last year, that has booed him or has turned on him or has not given him one of the most impressive entrances of the night every single time he goes out there. So until something like that, even Cody has had crowds turn on him until he just decided to be like, yo, I'm that guy, and turned them back. Jey Uso has not had a crowd turn on him, no matter who he faced. Ilya, Sammy, Seth, Gunther, it doesn't matter. And that speaks to wrestling being more than just the moves. Like, people say that and people get upset because wrestling, the sport, is what some people are here for. But sports entertainment is a very real thing. And people have a connection. Like, there are so many great wrestlers who, even if you push them as hard as you push Jey Uso, nobody's going to care because they don't have that connection that Jey Uso had. The pandemic was one of the best things that ever happened for Jey Uso's career because he was able to tell that story of going from this tag guy to becoming the right-hand man. And now, years later, he has really become the main event Jey Uso. It's the connection is so important, and it just goes to show, like, you don't have to have classic matches to become the most popular guy in a company.
That is very true. And we have to remind ourselves, like, this is the smartest wrestling crowd of the year, the most inside wrestling fans that are going to be at a show for this entire year. And they were all with Jey Uso, saying Uso, Jay, yeeting throughout this entire match. They're rolling with him. As you said, Cody was booed the night before WrestleMania night 1 because people want to see Cena win number 17. And he was able to turn that crowd back in his favor. Very few can do that. But Jay has had zero pushback since the Royal Rumble. He's gotten encore Geek presentations. So, like, there is a disconnection there clearly with the fans online. They feel away. You're the vocal minority. It is what it is. And WWE is not going to pivot for you because the majority of fans who pay their money, who go out there, have spoke their piece, and they think that Jay's the guy. Could that change? Absolutely. But for right now, he's the guy. He's the merch seller. He's beloved. He's over. And that's enough for me. But I will agree, like, Gunther tapping out was the one flaw in this match for me that I did not like. It was far too quick. And if he was going to end any kind of way, like I said, pass him out. Pass him out. That'd have been the better way for me to solidify the victory. But overall, the match was solid.
I agree. And I'm looking forward to see how long this reign lasts, if it's just a big moment for Mania or if there is a bit of a long-term plan for Jey Uso in this title run.
Yes, indeed. So we shall see how WWE plays it heading into post-WrestleMania season. But good way to start the show. Great moment with Jimmy as well, coming out there to celebrate with Jay as he is the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion. As we get to our second match of the night, which was the Angry Day versus War Raiders for the WWE World Tag Team titles. And as Scott and I talked about during our prediction show, we wondered why. We wondered what was the point without a stipulation. And this match would have been perfectly fine on the Raw after WrestleMania because all I wanted was Big E to come out there and beat up Kofi and Xavier, because otherwise, why have them on this card? But yet, they were on the card, they wrestled, it was fine, and they won the titles for a 12th time after not being champions for over 4 years and 14,000 something days. Well, congratulations to you. You're the champions. Yay, congratulations, throw a party, whatever. I don't care. But what offends me is the fact that we had DIY, the Motor City Machine Guns, and the Street Profits being booked in a TLC match on the Friday after WrestleMania when this could have been on WrestleMania.
Shout out to Faceless Kofi. Got him another title, and Consequences Creed strikes again. Shout out to them, man. Yeah. So we did it. We got through it. Black men won. All right. Match 3.
Wow. Black men won match 3. Let's move on. Congrats to them. Like Issa Rae, I'm supporting everyone black. Don't get me wrong, but this could have happened 2 days after WrestleMania, honestly speaking. This wasn't a WrestleMania worthy match.
No.
And I'm just speaking facts on that. No offense to either team, but this wasn't it. No step did not help the situation either. So we are where we are, but it was a match. It was solid, and the New Day are the new World Tag Team Champs. Congratulations. As Scott says, let's get to match number 3, which was Naomi versus Jade Cargill. To hell with Def Rebel and whatever that new music is for Naomi. No, 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 no.
My standards are so low, so it wasn't the worst thing. It wasn't the worst one I've heard.
Mm. Mm.
I mean, it was all right.
It was all right. She looked great. Music was.
I don't know about the shoulder pads.
Yeah, the shoulder pads was a choice, but I am a fan of the caution tape. Shoulder pads, Then Jay comes out. They actually paid Jim Cantor from the Weather Channel to do her intro. Little corny for me, but you can't go wrong with Big Jim Cantor during a cameo appearance at WrestleMania. Jay looks great, comes through. Now, the match itself. God bless Naomi for carrying through, being the ring general and being there for those spots, as clearly they were talking throughout this match. Jade Cargill has all the tools to be a superstar, but a key factor in being a great superstar is being able to work and being able to think on your feet and being able to get out of your head and not wait for someone to tell you what to do. And we need to get out of that zone ASAP. Been around the block for a few years now. Time to break that cycle. Naomi, the vet that she is, was there, did her spots, had some good moments. Last couple of minutes was pretty good when they weren't thinking so much about what to do. But Jade, you have got to get out of your head and stop looking for guidance in your matches. That is my critique, because the match and the story was there. The emotion and drama was missing for me because you was thinking about what you needed to do and how to be guided in this match. She has moments of being special because she's strong, she's powerful, and that does take my breath away. But the beast between the notes in the ring, that still needs work. The match was fine. Thank God for Naomi.
I thought Jade and her book bag did pretty good. I thought the match was solid, man. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought the uncrispness of the match, especially with the kind of story that they had with them wanting to tear into each other, kind of worked in their favor. And I think it also worked in another women's match later on in the night. But I think I enjoyed this match a little bit more. Again, this could be an expectations thing. I didn't have high expectations for this match at all, and I thought they exceeded it. And Naomi was solid, but I thought Jade looked really good.
She had moments. She did. But those moments need to translate into the body of the match a bit better. Transitions are key. The flow needs to be better. Match was fine. Last couple of minutes was quite good. Kind of had me going for a little bit, but yeah, it just needed some work in between the notes for me, but it was good for what it was. Good win for Jade as expected. And Naomi, shows up always. Always a pro out there to get things over that she needs to get over. And Jade looked like a powerhouse when it counted most. Just need more beats between the notes and the matches for Jade Cargill. That's all I'm saying. As Fernando notes that Naomi has come a long way from her Funkadactyl days with hard work and dedication.
Why you leave the pause? You wanted me to be like, yeah, I agree. I think Naomi's done a
Yes,
great job. I think
absolutely.
she's been
Absolutely.
fantastic.
Because it pains you to say it. That is why. It pains you to say it.
Listen, Naomi has one of the most impressive resumes a book bag could ever accumulate.
Hush.
And I think that this last 2 months, she has done some really good work, and I will give her props. This was a big match to be in. 2 black women, first singles match, no title on the line. This is a big spot to be in for both of them, and they absolutely did. So yeah, shout out to Naomi. You've come a long way. You're still in the game while the guy that you were dancing for is sitting on talk shows talking about nothing but nonsense.
Exactly. So glad that she's rid of that baggage after all of these years.
Now she may be a book bag, but that's a whole suit bag right there.
That is facts on that. And I have to say, on SmackDown the night before this match at WrestleMania, when we had Io and Rhea and Bianca, I will say the tone immediately switched when Naomi came out there, because she was once again in her Leon bag, as if she's Angela Bassett out there, bringing the acting, talking about the missed calls, the voicemails, the texts, and said, I know that you got them, Bianca, because it said delivered. So I know that you got the messages. So I know that you see me trying to reach out to you. So that's going to lead to what's going to happen possibly maybe tomorrow night regarding what could happen for Bianca Belair. Will Naomi get involved? That is the question.
Yeah, Naomi, she really gets in the zone by listening to some Isley Brothers and watching a lot of Tyler Perry flicks, because good gracious, man, it's crazy. It's like she tried to get a movie on Tubi or something.
What? What? You need to stop. That is wild. Tubi has come a long way from those made for Tubi movies.
No doubt. But okay, but she ain't sharing no screen with Angela Bassett. She won't be getting away with How to Get Away with Murder. She won't be doing that. Okay.
Listen, she is
no Viola Davis over here.
She's in the thespian bag for those segments. And then she is. And then Debbie says, Scott, LOL, no Naomi slander. The match was mid for my liking, but was well executed. See, you need to stop.
Yeah, it was well executed.
The Tubi slander.
I said the match was really good. I think I enjoyed it more than you did. I enjoyed the match. I liked it. But, listen, I just know that Jade's back hurts. And not from doing the moves.
Sir, stop. And then Debbie also says, hey, Tubi be getting them checks, the WWE. So listen.
100%.
Listen, okay? Tubi has come up in the world from those made-for-television movies. You're trying it.
Shout out to Evolve.
Exactly. And shout out to Tubi for getting back in the wrestling game after the incident with MLW all those years ago. But hey, they sorted it out.
Well, somebody sorted it out. I don't know if it was them, but somebody.
Court of law.
Somebody got it taken care of.
Big ass lawsuit sorted it out. Right. That's what happened.
Right.
Settlement settled it out for sure. But let's get to our next match. And I think for a good 90 minutes, WrestleMania was in cruise control and not a lot was happening. And the crowd was kind of going to sleep a little bit. It was dragging a little bit. And then we get to our United States Championship match between LA Knight, the champion, versus Jacob Fatu. And you know what? Let's celebrate LA Knight. Because this man be showing up at these stadium shows and he be like, listen, y'all gonna put some respect on my name. No matter where I'm at on the card, I'm gonna ball out. I'm gonna put on a show. I'm gonna wake y'all up. I'm gonna do some special things in this match. And he did. Jacob Fatu, we know who he is. We know how great he is. We know he's got charisma for days, talent for days. But LA Knight said, y'all going to remember that when y'all put me in these stadium matches, I'm going to show up. And even in defeat, he did show up. Highlight for me was Jacob going for that moonsault, and that man turned to a BFT out of nowhere for a near fall, and then Jacob just went completely berserko and hit like moonsaults 2 times over to get the championship clean as a sheet, no solo interference, and very big of Solo to actually come out there and intro his cousin because he's not on the card. Think about this: that you went from being the de facto fake ass tribal chief to not being on the WrestleMania card, but still having like, the heart to go out there and rep your cousin, then take the leave of absence by not being there at ringside. That's big of Solo to do that. And this was Jacob's moment. The fans love him. He rose to the occasion. He lived up to the hype. This match exceeded expectations and woke this crowd up.
Yeah, I thought it was another really strong match. And I agree with you. I liked Solo hyping him up. And you could read his lips say, "I love you, man. This is you. This is all you." You could tell there's real emotion there. The bloodline 2-0 at this point, 2 title changes. It was I agree. I agree with this match was really good as well. LA Knight, underrated athlete, just the moves he does, the double jump, elbow drop that he hit to a standing Fatu. That was real nice. But the right man won. Fatu should have a dominant U.S. title run. He's got ready-made feuds to go. Braun Strowman is someone that you could always circle back to. They got a lot of different things they can do. But I thoroughly enjoyed this, and I'm really looking forward to what Fatu can do with that title, as long as he's given the opportunity to really thrive.
For sure. I really enjoyed this match. Really good. Jacob's going to be a great champion, most definitely. He's got it. He's got it, man. And LA Knight, I always look at him as someone that always rises to the occasion no matter what. In these big stages, he tends to do that. And it's a reminder of like, that's why the fans love him, because he's over. And when it's time to work, he works. I think his work rate is highly underrated for these moments because he always steps up. He did it last summer against Logan Paul, had one of the better matches at SummerSlam last year. And it wasn't just because of Logan Paul. It was because of LA Knight too. He stepped up to win the United States Championship, was a great champion, by the way. Was a great champion till he dropped it to, who. And then he got it back a month ago, and then he loses it to Jacob Fatu. And he's always a giver, never going to sour face, never going to be a sourpuss about it. Got somebody over, and the chemistry was hitting. So I thought they definitely turned the tide around in terms of waking up the crowd. So really good match.
I agree. Again, LA Knight, it'll be interesting to see where he goes from here. What he does when he's not in that U.S. title picture. What his kind of feuds look like. So that'll be interesting to see. But I'm really looking forward to what Fatu could do with that title as far as the defenses and who challenges and who goes after it.
Me too. Looking forward to that as well. As we get to our next match, which was supposed to be Rey Mysterio versus El Grande Americano. Rey, unfortunately, got injured on SmackDown the night before, was not medically cleared to compete on WrestleMania Saturday, which is very sad to see. But instead, we had Rey Felix in that spot instead against El Grande. And this match, for what it was, they balled out. It was really good. Rey is just a beast. I love him. And we know that El Grande is Chad Gable. And Chad Gable on this night went in his lucha bag and said, you know what, since y'all want to, question my lucha libre lineage, I'm going to go out here and deliver a 450 seton out of nowhere. It's clean and smooth and silky.
A reverse.
Let's talk about a reverse 450 seton. Clean, silky smooth. Like, put some respect to that man's name. Like, Chad Gable's a beast, man, regardless of his alias. Then he loaded his mask up, and then in a clever spot, poor Rey kicked the man's head and fucked up his foot. And then after that, El Grande took advantage of it, tried to lock in an ankle lock, did not work, had headbutts galore, and then he gets the W. Now, unfortunately, it's a choice to have Rey lose, but Rey was going to lose anyway with booking. But a part of me was wondering, y'all could have had Dragon Lee take that L versus Ray Phoenix.
Yeah, I mean, I think I guess they just saying Lucha Bros y'all gonna lose today. One gonna take the loss today, one gonna take the loss tomorrow. But yeah, no, I thought this match was really good, especially for the time that it was given and where it was on the card. This could have been a dead spot, but I thought they did a really good job with it. And you know, big moment for Ray Phoenix. Something he wasn't expecting. The match probably would have been bigger and maybe more impactful with Rey Mysterio, especially getting a win over Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania. But the match was absolutely a better in-ring match because they had Ray Phoenix in there.
For sure, most definitely. So the long-term story of our Grande Americano continues. This is going to be a long-term story to get this man unmaxed in the next few months. But I do expect an old-fashioned luchador beat down at Worlds Collide. El Grande again jumped by all the luchadors. You can call it now. The man's going to try to invade Worlds Collide, trying to be a bootleg luchador. They're going to beat his ass off top.
Yeah, Vikingo, they showed him. I think they could be setting. It's got to be a mask something match, mask hair, mask something match, or mask versus mask. Somebody's got to be doing that, putting the mask on the line so they can unmask him, or unless they're going to stretch it out and keep him going. But yeah, he's definitely 100% getting the cartel beat down.
Yes, he is. Vikingo and WWE. That's spicy.
Guess we won't be seeing Kenny Omega in AAA anymore.
No,
no more car services for him.
No, that forbidden door is closed now. That's locked up shut. Yeah, I got Vikingo. And we said the Logan Paul was looking at Vikingo tapes. Now the man's here. And you might be interacting with him legitimately. And that's a different kind of athlete. So Logan Paul, get your books up. Get your books up now, because that's a real problem coming in officially.
Yeah, now Tony Khan's got a real problem. He's got to find out who he's going to call for, his auto protection.
I'm like, sir, here you go. Here you go. Here you go. Talking about auto protection. You know what he can call now? OnStar.
You know what, he could. He could. That's a really good call, because he better call somebody. Because when you get that flat tire and you don't have a spare in the car, you got trouble.
Yes, you do. Indeed. And the fact that you're still rolling with this is just ridiculous. But okay. But now let's get to our next match. Our semi-main event of WrestleMania Night 1 is Tiffany Stratton defending her women's championship against Charlotte Flair. Nice entrance for Tiffany being the Barbie doll. Very nice touch. Charlotte comes through in a Rolls Royce. Nice touch there. The match itself had moments of being good, but oil and water, baby. Oil and water. It was not a good mix. And the hallmark of a great Charlotte Flair match was missing on this night. The emotion. The emotion that Charlotte tends to tap into was not there. And when you don't feel that emotion, that swell, that feeling of greatness, you can't clear it, unfortunately. And I got that vibe tonight. Every WrestleMania match I've seen Charlotte in a singles match at least, I've always felt the emotion. Her matches against Rhea Ripley, for example, always felt the emotion. Her and Sasha and Becky at WrestleMania 32 always felt the emotion, or 31 or 32. Yes, I always felt the emotion. Always felt it. Always felt that extra something that would pull you in. Did not feel that tonight. When Charlotte was trying to fire up Tiffany, show me something, show me what you're made of, didn't really get that emotional vibe from either lady. And therefore, this match, on paper, it felt like a really good idea. And I think it was all for it in the beginning. And then the actual feud began and it wasn't great. And the crowd obviously was anti-Charlotte, pro-Tiffany, but the emotional weight of this match for me was lacking. I was honestly surprised that Tiffany got the W. Very shocked because I thought it was going to be Charlotte Flair getting the W. But they said, you know what? Only one person could break a record this weekend to be number 17, and that'll be John Cena and not you, Charlotte Flair. But it does make me wonder, where does Charlotte Flair go from here when you lose this match at WrestleMania and you kind of submit Tiffany as next girl up?
So I'm actually on the other side of this. I thought this felt dirty, grimy, and felt like a fight between people who didn't like each other. And I don't know. I thoroughly enjoy awkward exchanges like this. I loved it. It wasn't a technical masterpiece, and it definitely doesn't hold a candle to Charlotte and Rhea Ripley as far as in ring goes. But for what this was, and for this being this felt different than what we saw from Trinity or Naomi and Jade, and it's going to feel different than what we're going to see from the women's triple threat. This felt grimy, and I really liked it. Like, Tiffany came out of this and looked like she had been in a real fight. She looked like she had a chipped tooth. Her face had whelps all over it, and Charlotte came away looking like she just went through a workout. And like, Tiffany looked exhausted after the match. Like, I came away from this match thinking like, yo, Tiffany, you just went through hell. You still standing. You earned that. Like, I came away very impressed by Tiffany from the physicality. One thing about Charlotte, and you mentioned the fire. Another thing about Charlotte, she is a very physical wrestler. Like, she's going to bring that physicality. And if you don't hit her, she's still going to hit you. And she was hitting the hell out of Tiffany tonight. And Tiffany kept coming. She took those hits and she kept moving. I like this match for what it was. It was different, and it felt grimy and dirty like it needed to be from the way the feud was built.
I expect the physicality, just miss the emotion. That's all I didn't feel it for me. And it was a perfectly fine match. It was messy, dirty, grimy in spots, awkward, clunky, some great moments here and there, but it wasn't that match that I thought to myself, yeah, this is a WrestleMania classic. Did not touch any of the Rhea matches. I was like, this match is good, but it wasn't great for me. And I was just kind of like, it existed perfectly fine. And we'll see where this goes for Charlotte. I wonder where this takes her. I do, because losing at WrestleMania, where do you go from here?
I think what's important for Charlotte, and what, as far as what kind of would help her in the eyes of the fans, at least from the appreciation standpoint, is you got to do something that doesn't involve the title, because whatever you do is still going to feel important because you are Charlotte Flair. And I think now is the time for Tiffany to move on and do something, and for Charlotte to have a nice non-title feud. Just have something where she's around, and she's putting on back and forth matches with somebody, and it doesn't have to be about going after the record, going after a title. I think that would just do a lot of wonders and goodwill for her, just to show that she's not just here to win championships, which obviously is the goal, but that would just do a lot. So then when she does go back, it's like, all right, she's been through the grind. She started from the bottom. She's got some good wins under her belt. So I think it's very important for her to have a very good non-title feud. Who that could be against? Jade. And actually, Naomi would be a really good one. The only problem is the crowd is just going to go crazy for her. So if anything, now might be the time to pull the trigger on that Jade feud, while the crowd will absolutely be behind her. Charlotte can lead her to a good match, and we can get that face off, and we can start building towards that, maybe at a SummerSlam or something like that.
For sure. Definitely see that as a possibility down the road. As we get some feedback to the semi-main event, Fernando knows chemistry was off. Debbie said it was very off. And then Debbie also knows the crowd didn't seem behind it at all. They were like heated for Tiffany and just cold for Charlotte, giving her that heel heat. And then she did note that I did think that Tiff did get her flowers because of what Cole said, because I think she wasn't pushed based on the previous matches. Maria notes Roxanne should have won the Rumble and challenged Tiffany. It would have been a better match. They both had a better match on SmackDown. Roxanne winning, I don't know, but their match on SmackDown was quite good last week.
Yeah, I mean, Roxanne's having a hard enough time getting on an NXT card. So
yeah. Just think that Roxanne was on the pre-show today and not on the main show, which is choices.
So was Fallon Henley. So were Carr and Lash.
Choices indeed. So that was our semi-main event. Tiffany retains. Solid match. Did not love it. With some things that was a little bit off for me, but far from an awful match. Just kind of there for me in this spot. So WrestleMania Night 1 is trucking along. We had some highs. We had some lows. We had some choices. But let's get to the main event, shall we? The triple threat match involving Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, and CM Punk. And so for the first time in a long time, Seth blessed us with an all-white fit. And when Seth wears all white, that man is going to go into beast mode in the ring. Undoubtedly so. When he wears white, it's just something special. He just unlocks something, and he goes out there and puts on the show. And tonight was no exception. Roman comes out alone. First time in a long time that has happened. No wise man, no bloodline, all on his own, all by himself. And then it was time for CM Punk to make his entrance. Shout out to the video package. Shout out to This Fire Burns being played in 2025, a theme song I loved when he first came into WWE. Loved the voiceover then versus now. And In Living Color coming out there playing Code of Personality. Love the vibe. Paul Heyman's out there to accompany CM Punk. So it just set the tone that this was the main event of WrestleMania Night 1, and deservedly so.
Yeah, they made the right call. I think regardless of how good the women's match will be tomorrow, this was the right call to close out Night 1. And the entrances felt epic, felt big time. You could see how much this meant to Paul and CM Punk, especially when they're coming out, they're high-fiving. And I know it was all to add to what happened later on in the match, but you could see there was a lot of genuine in that too.
Yes, a lot of genuine emotion, a lot of happiness, just deserving of that spot. And the match itself, it saved the night in some ways because all three guys went out there and they delivered. The storytelling was great, as it was Seth trying to tell Roman, we got to do this for the industry. We got to do this for us. CM Punk is the problem. He's a cancer we got to get rid of. Like, I made you. Mox made you who you are today. So let's go out there, take out the problem. Let's take out CM Punk. And I just love the spots in this match. One of the best spots of the night was when Seth caught that spear from Roman and immediately hit a pedigree for a near fall. I said at that moment, all white fit, that is what Seth does, produce magic. Then we had the T's powerbomb spot, and then Roman had great emotion on his face trying to sell this conflict of what I should do. Should I have this moment with my best friend that I used to rock with? Should I just say F it, which he eventually did and decided to powerbomb Punk and Rollins through the WrestleMania announce tables, both the English and Spanish version. And who knew that the dealer-shaped tables could take a bump too?
I thought this was one of the best triple threat matches in WrestleMania history. I mean, you know what? You could probably say it's the one of the worst ones, but it's so like it's not as good as Gunther, Sheamus, and Drew, and it's not as good as Voldemort, HBK, and Triple H. But I think it's right below them. It's I think it's a little bit better than Seth, Finn, and Miz. I think that's a great one. It's way better than Daniel Bryan, Randy Orton, and Batista. I think it's I think it's a fantastic main event, fantastic match. They all had moments of real, and I think this is the best CM Punk match he's had since he's come back. As far as his win, he looked like he could go longer. Never looked like he got gassed. Never looked like he got hurt. Looked like he might be able to wrestle again. And I thought the near falls were fantastic. They did a good job of not overdoing the near falls in the matches beforehand. So when they kicked out now, it meant something. This was a really, really, really good match. I think it's one of the better main events that WrestleMania's had.
I agree. Love the drama, love the near falls, love the finishers being hit, love the kickouts, the drama, the fans getting hyped for everything, not knowing how it was going to end. So then it comes down to Paul Heyman having a crisis of conscience because he's supporting CM Punk, but he introduces a steel chair and he wonders, who do I give this chair to? Do I give it to my best friend CM Punk, or do I give it to my tribal chief Roman Reigns? So he slides the chair over to CM Punk, and as CM Punk is ready to wheel the chair on Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman delivers a low blow to CM Punk and said, "You made me do this. You made me do this." And then after that, he hands the chair over to my tribal chief. He acknowledges him, says, "Here, my tribal chief, do what you must." And he lets Roman go off on CM Punk with multiple chair shots to the back. And then he says, "Look, my tribal chief, look at the one who stabbed you in the back 11 years ago with the chair shot heard around the world. There he is. Take him out. Here you go." And then Roman is in prime position to deliver a chair shot to the back of Seth Rollins. And then, unbeknownst to Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman delivers a low blow to him too. And he is effectively selling out to Seth Rollins, who said on the night before that it's not a prediction, it's a spoiler that I'm winning this match. And he proceeds to just hit Roman repeatedly in the back with the steel chair, hit the curb stomp, 1, 2, 3. And we have a new unholy alliance in 2025 with Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins. And I'm kind of here for it because Seth wasn't wrong in what he said a couple of weeks ago to Paul Heyman, that neither one of these guys are your friends. They're users. They've used you. And I'm wondering, Michael Cole, why you're upset because Seth didn't tell a lie. Roman treated Paul like shit. CM Punk only used him for convenience. So Paul said, "You know what? Let me just roll with a guy who hasn't treated me like shit recently. Let me go with somebody that I know I can have their back and they'll have mine." And it's a different dynamic. And I think that both guys are going to play off each other. And the added bonus is that Seth can talk. That's not a concern. It's just having Paul there as insurance is like the added bonus you need to be somebody even more than who you are.
Yeah, and it's going to be even more shocking when Seth and Paul Heyman team up with new champion John Cena and The Rock tomorrow to stand tall at the end of WrestleMania. But yeah, again, the match was fantastic, and Seth Rollins becoming a Heyman guy is a very interesting twist, and it gives him a new chapter, a new wrinkle. I thought they did a really good job with the near falls, and the double turn at the end was really well done. And I like the fact that Paul Heyman, when he hit that low blow on Roman, he was kind of cranking that joint a little bit, pause. And like he made sure that he got both nuts on the way. Like that dude was hitting both sides. I was like, God dang, dude, we got the point. You got him. But yeah, I mean, and then I thought Seth's face was really good. He just the stone cold look, just the nothing behind these eyes. It was a great way to close out the show. Really enjoyed it. It harkens back to the very first main event Seth Rollins ever had at WrestleMania, and he ended up pinning Roman Reigns. Who was out there? Paul Heyman was out there. Except this time, Paul Heyman leaves with Seth Rollins. It's all very intertwined, and just the history and the full circle moment of Seth pinning Roman Reigns again, and I very well done. Again, I think this is going to age very well, this match and the moment, because I think Seth Rollins could be in for a very, very nice run. And I think Jey Uso could be in for a very short title reign.
Yeah, Seth's getting that championship back most definitely very soon. My condolences to Jay in advance. You're going to be the very definition of a transitional champion. And that's not a bad thing, honestly speaking. And I go back to what you said. The storytelling in this is 10 years ago. Seth Rollins pins Roman Reigns to win his first major championship in WWE. And now, 10 years later, after what he did, now you get to pin him again in the main event of WrestleMania with Paul Heyman by your side. And I love that wrinkle. And I called it like Seth was going to be the glue. He was going to be the ace in this match. And he was undoubtedly so. And he delivered in every way. Seth is that guy, as is CM Punk. He had his best match. I agree. Since coming back in this setting, Roman Reigns always delivers in the main event of WrestleMania. This year was no exception. And he ate the L. Like, he got pinned. That is rare stuff to see. And for Seth to do it was even more telling. And then CM Punk did not get pinned in the main event of WrestleMania. Like, he said, no, like, we can run it back and I can win my match another time. But right now it's about Seth. And I do think he is due for a renaissance this year. And I think it's deserved. He's so great at what he does. And as predicted, he was going to be the guy to hold this match together. He was going to be the needle in the thread, and he was. And I'm very intrigued to see how Paul and Seth are going to work together moving forward.
Yeah, that makes Seth Rollins now 2-0 versus Roman Reigns, since he did win his match versus him when they were going for the title, because he won by DQ. So he's now beat him by DQ, and he's pinned him in their 2 matches they've had against each other. Again, this story is fantastic, and I see a comment here: Roman versus Seth at Mania next year. And I think if they don't do it at SummerSlam, I 100% think that's the plan. Roman finally gets that big win over Seth Rollins. But I can't say enough about this match. It was fantastic. The energy, the emotion, the crowd was on fire for it, especially for the last 5-10 minutes where guys were hitting multiple moves. It wasn't just one move. It was multiple finishers. They were stealing finishers. Great way to close out the show. And if like you said, night 2 is going to eclipse that, they're going to need about 2 or 3 matches that are going to need to be on par or better than that, because that match right there might end up stealing the weekend.
It's very possible, but night 2 will like a word with night 1. And I think there are several matches on that card that could clear night 1. Will it clear the main event? We got Cena and Cody. That's going to be an emotionally heightened match. And as you said, we could have like a Heyman, Rock, Seth finish to really flip the script on last year about helping Cody finish his story. And then they take the story from him a year later. And then you get Cody and Seth again. That's another chapter to unfold after their moment last year. So a lot of directions you can go there. But Fernando makes a good point, saying after this story, Heyman is going to advise Braun Breaker and will guide him to the World Championship at SummerSlam, because there have been teases of Paul coaching up Braun Breaker. That is possible. He's been scouting. He's been noticing Braun. He has potential, obviously. And so I would not rule it out. But for right now, I would love to see the partnership between Seth and Paul flourish. And for all we know, tonight at WrestleMania Night 2, the fix is going to be in again.
Yeah. Just a great ending, man. I can't say enough. I'm looking forward to seeing what they have in store for this, because if they had this for night 1, I'm sure they're going to have something equal, if not bigger, planned for night 2.
Most definitely. And night 2, we got some news regarding one match in particular. So it was supposed to be Lyra and Bayley versus Liv Morgan and Raquel for the women's tag team titles. Bayley was attacked in a phantom attack backstage during the pre-show, and she is out of this match. And Lyra must find a replacement. It's Becky Lynch. It is. I mean, that's the word on the street. I expect it. But then I wondered to myself, y'all did Bayley dirty this year. Like, y'all had her go through a gauntlet match, survive, put her in this position, take it from her. And then you had her and Roxanne beefing on the main roster. That could have been a WrestleMania match, and you didn't do that either. So choices there in terms of the booking of how this was handled.
Yeah, I mean, so instead of Roxanne being on the pre-show, her and Bailey could have just had a singles match at Stand and Deliver. Could have had another singles match here or night 2, and then everybody's gonna be mad when Bailey decides to go hang out with her former tag team partner, and run AEW. Like, this is why. Like, it's crazy. A bit ridiculous. But it is what it is. And yeah, Becky Lynch, which will be fine. I think that'll be a nice moment. It'd be a nice way to kind of elevate the tag titles. And her and Liv Morgan have history. But I'm going to lower my expectations. And I'm going to think it's probably going to be like Natty.
No, it will not be Natty. It's going to be Becky. They're doing this for a reason. And then listen, big time ratings Rebecca's going to bump NXT up.
What did you call her?
Big time ratings Rebecca.
Big time ratings Rebecca.
She is. If she's going to be the champion heading into NXT, facing off against Tatum and Gigi, she's going to push close to 1 million viewers. Is what she does. It's what, historically speaking, right, Becky she's going to get you a meal.
I'm going to tell you who's not going to get you a meal, and that's Buttercup and Peaches.
Buttercup. First of all, that is not that girl's name.
It's Buttercup, Bubbles, and Peaches, right?
No, fool. It's Blossom.
Blossom. Peaches. Buttercup and Blossom. That's it.
Buttercup and Peaches. Who the hell is Peaches?
Who is Peaches? Where did I get Peaches from?
I don't know who Peaches is, but it ain't Gigi.
Buttercup and Blossom. Okay.
Oh my God. Buttercup.
Well, Blossom is Blossom. Gigi's Blossom. For sure.
Yes. Well, thankfully you got that part right.
Tatum's not really a Bubbles, but
she's a Buttercup.
Is she? I thought in the
Do
green.
You know who? Yes, Buttercup with the green eyes, black hair.
The green one.
But yeah, Buttercup. There you go.
But Tatum's not really a Bubbles.
Hell no, absolutely not.
She's stuck with that.
Okay, well listen. After you typecasted them in a very rude way, but hey. It is what it is. Shout out to Bailey. You're going to be all right. Mercedes was pitching already, girl. Call me. I can set you up in a better situation. But in all seriousness, it was going to lead to a storyline after WrestleMania of Bailey versus Becky or Bailey versus Lyra. I'm here for it because let me tell you something. Becky is not Becky Hogan. That theory needs to die because when she's there, it's so funny that the entire division seems to thrive when she's back. Everybody gets a story and they all get great matches. And it's just fascinating how that happens when she returns. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. Again, she's still going to be in the tag division. So there's only so much hope for that. But it'll be nice to have her back. And she's probably like, yeah, if you want me back, I'm only doing half the work. So I'm only doing hot tags.
Yes, and Maria states, I think it's a disgrace that the U.S. and IC titles are not being defended at Mania. Lyra should not be in a tag team championship match. Yeah, they made these secondary titles not to be defended at WrestleMania. That is a laugh and a half, and it's sad because why?
Well, especially since you have both the men's titles being defended, and that normally doesn't even happen. Chelsea Green's been a borderline MVP in whatever women's segment she has been in, and then Lyra has been one of your better pushed people, male or female, that you've called up all year. And not even that, it's like Liv Morgan and Raquel deserve a little bit better too, to have a real tag team match with a story involved in it. But this is what happened. I mean, when we saw the gauntlet match in the only tag team they actually have of Casey and JoJo, who've been waiting all their life for a moment like this,
oh my God.
They thought it was crazy when they were the first eliminated as well.
Oh my God. Just the run of songs you just did. Don't let me throw in Life for good measure.
I'm just saying, man.
I mean,
I'm just saying, That was the first clue that this wasn't being taken serious.
Indeed, but choices have definitely been made. We cannot lie about that. And let's get to. Oh, let me talk about Fernando. Talking about the four horsewomen get a lot of unnecessary hate from fans. Oh, absolutely true. They do all the time. Like the four horsewomen transformed this industry in the last 10 or so years, and they've given back in many ways. And there have been flaws with Charlotte specifically, but when it counts most, she does do business when she needs to. That is important. The impact of the four horsewomen cannot be mistaken. I do think the internet rancor is stupid, especially surrounding Becky Lynch, who gives so much of her time. And when she's there, everybody tends to get over more so than they were before. Look at Liv Morgan. Her push started 2 years ago because of Becky Lynch, because she laid the foundation for where Liv is today. So, like, put some respect on Becky's name, plain and simple. That's internet noise, not mainstream noise. Just leave the internet alone. Let them say what they're going to say. But smart, sensible people know the truth.
Yeah, and I mean, without them, without the four horsewomen, we're still getting bra and panty matches. So I think that their stamp on wrestling is not only vindicated, but it is immortalized forever.
Absolutely. And with that, that wraps up night one of WrestleMania. So we didn't do any tiers or ratings for the matches, but for the show itself, Scott, on 1 to 10 tiers, what do you give WrestleMania 41 night one?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it that main event was really, really good, and I enjoyed a few of the matches more. A lot of great moments. I'm gonna give it a solid 7. I thought it was a really solid card. A solid 7 yeets, man.
7 yeets out of 10. I'm gonna give it 6 yeets out of 10. 6. Gotta go there. 6. Not a full 7. I expect night 2 to be the better show. I believe it. I think about the 4-way with Penta, Von Breaker, Finn, Dominic Mysterio. Think about the triple threat with Bianca, Io, and Rhea. Think about that person against AJ Styles. Sin City Street fight with McIntyre and Priest. The main event of Cena versus Cody for the undisputed WWE Championship. Randy versus the mystery opponent. Becky's return. Night 2. Night 2 a problem.
No, night two is going to be night 2 has an opportunity to be special.
Yes.
It definitely has an opportunity to be special. So yeah, you're probably right, but we'll see if anything on night 2 can top that main event. I genuinely think that main event is one that's going to really stand the test of time and be able to hold up against other main events. So we'll see if anything can keep up with that. But I think the body, you're probably right.
Yeah. Fernando goes 8-9 for the show. Maria goes 8 out of 10. And then Fernando knows night 2 is the real WrestleMania Sunday. It is. I agree.
Well, we got a nice little precursor. This is a good way to lead into it. And then they just go bonkers tomorrow.
We'll see how they do. We see how they do for sure. All right. And with that, that is a wrap for night 1 WrestleMania recap. Now, Scott will not be here tomorrow night to recap night 2 of WrestleMania. He's going to be unavailable. It's Easter Sunday. We'll spend time with the fam. But never fear, I'll be back tomorrow night with an extra special guest from Power Bombshells. Mel will be joining me tomorrow night, possibly Sam too, to run down night 2 of WrestleMania. So it's going to be a fun night. We're going to have a fun time recapping it. And here's hoping that WrestleMania night 2 ends at a respectable hour as well.
Oh, that's dead. Y'all ain't starting y'all show till 12 o'clock tomorrow. Happy Easter as well to everyone, and shout out to the bombshells, man. They've been holding it down for me, especially while I was out on leave with the baby and whatnot, and me having to be out for the fam tomorrow. So So shout out to Mel and Sam, man. Y'all been holding it down for me. I appreciate that.
Appreciate it as always. Fernando knows he listens to them every weekend, and we love the support, love the love. And night 2 of WrestleMania, bold prediction, it's going to be special. It'll be one of the better WrestleManias in terms of a second night we've seen since this concept started 5 years ago. So just hope it's a good show. Ends at a decent hour. Scott says, forget that. It's ending at midnight. We shall see how it goes. But until then, that is a wrap for all things WrestleMania Night 1. Thank you, Scott, for joining me as always to recap the highs and lows of WrestleMania Night 1 in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Thank you for having me, Keila. As always, it's a pleasure to chop it up and talk all things WWE. I am a little disappointed I won't be here tomorrow, but if I can get in on the chat, I'll be there on the chat. But yeah, I am looking forward to night 2. I do think there are going to be some really fun matches tomorrow.
Indeed. And I'd love you to crash the chat if you are able to talk about some highlights from the show, because I know you got things to say, you have thoughts. Otherwise, you'll save them for our show on Wednesday as we dive into the fallout from WrestleMania Sunday. So until then, enjoy WrestleMania Night 2. It is going to be a fun time as always. Thank all of you in the live chat for discussing everything. Thank you, Fernando.
Yeah, shout out
Appreciate
to the chat.
you. Thank you for the feedback, guys. So until tomorrow, for myself and for Salty Scott Young, who is perky on this Saturday night, take care and bye-bye. And that is all things WrestleMania Night Uno.